TUFF SHIFT. Hello, world, and welcome to another episode of TUFF SHIFT, the podcast where we unpack all that goes into surviving the job and living the dream. I do a little practice before we start this, and I always toy with like singing it. I'm like, I'm gonna say dream on a B flat, and then I chicken out. I'm like, I don't have it. I don't have it. I don't have it. One of these days, I'm going to just come out with a B flat. Maybe. We'll see. Do I have it today? Dream! I do have it. That might be horrific because I didn't set up the microphone for but there we go. I'm your host, Sean Patrick Murtagh, and clearly I'm a tenor because I'm looking not even at the camera, I'm looking at myself on the screen. Welcome. And believe it or not, I'm still training for that new restaurant. Here we are. My first day was May 1st. And granted, I was leaving one restaurant, coming into this one. So you have to sprinkle it because, I'm not making tips in training. So I have to make sure to maximize what I was getting from the place I was leaving, who were surprisingly and not that surprisingly generous. Well, one of the managers at least, when on my last day and when I put in my notice, she even, for my last paycheck that I picked up yesterday, my last day was the first day of another pay period, and she just actually swiped that in to my payroll for this one, so that way I wouldn't have to wait another 20 days for a few $100. So that's very thoughtful. And I talk a lot of shit about that place, and I stand by everything I say. But like I say, fair is fair. I may be tough, but I am fair. And there are weird things to where I'm like, I would not expect you guys to be that naturally generous. And so I want to say thank you for doing those little things, for everything you didn't do. There was some random shit that you intuited. And I'll say her name, Jessica. You took care of the staff, maybe outside of normal restaurant practices, but on a human level, you were right there. And so I'm going to sing your praises for that. Thank you. And this never-ending training process that I've been experiencing I've been tested. Oh, I'm being tested. And I've actually done with the test. There's 5 days of testing. And when I turned in my last one, my new manager was like, so are you happy you're past the test? What the fuck do you think? What? Of course I'm fucking happy I passed these tests. This is nonsense. This has been 5 days of classroom, like where I'm not even I haven't even touched the floor yet. I've not even seen if I like the bar space. I don't even know if I like the coworkers. I've just been in this classroom, which honestly, you need to know the food. I support that 100%. Need to know the allergies, need to know the inspiration. You need to know everything you need to know to sell it. So I'm all about testing on food knowledge as long as the knowledge is provided and taught. The other stuff, the corporate handbooks and the corporate policies and the guidelines on hospitality, I'm less that. I'm a lot less that because it's a bit stale. It's robotic, it's formulaic, and it's kind of counterproductive to actual, what I see actual hospitality to be for me. And it also kind of goes against who I am as a human being and as a person, my core principles as a person, which is very pro people, very pro my coworkers, and very naturally hospitable. I'm an entertainer. I welcome people into my shows. I welcome people into my theaters. I welcome people into my home. I'm a natural entertainer. I'm a natural host. I was raised by two amazing people who were natural hosts, who had all the family gatherings, still have family gatherings. It's a part of my DNA, and I love it. So having to sit through these like corporate trainings, it grinds away at my soul. And like I said, it's just not sincere to me, and it's a bit overkill, especially when a lot of, and this happens a lot in places like this. And we talked last week about the need for corporate culture, the need to know the structure, to have the handbook explained to you, so that way you know what you're dealing with. There's no hidden surprises. Everything's on the table. It's just a lot to get through. But being tested at the level that we were being tested on about it, it's a bit much. When again, I don't know if I like the bar space. I don't know really if this is going to work out. This will work out. It will. I do like it now that I'm past the tests. I just feel like a huge burden, obviously, lifted off my shoulders. And just, I mean, my second day behind the bar, there's always a structure. Well, not always. In good places, there is a structure to training. And on this, you're going to observe. On this, boom, boom. Both days, I was kind of like thrown in the well. But the second day behind the bar, it was just kind of like my trainer kind of forgot. And this is no shade to him. That I was training, because he was just like, oh yeah, you have it. And just kind of like, he had to be like, I need to be by your side. You just have it. And I did. And even one of the servers, who's another trainer, uh, she was like, yeah, we didn't have a single issue with ticket time. So I was like, thank you. Thank you. Oh, you really like me. So that burden of having the tests off my shoulders has been freeing. And I do like this place. But with all that being said, I still have to prioritize my own core principles, my own core values of integrity, and how I view it, how it pertains to me, because I will answer to you the answers you need, but I'm the person that needs to get through the shift. I'm the person that needs to look out for my coworkers. And again, some of these core principles about integrity and this and that, it kind of feels like they're asking us to be like little snitches, like little spies for the corporation. I'm never going to turn on my coworkers. I got their back. We got each other's back, because as much as a workplace says they're looking out for you, it's a lot like insurance. It's a lot like insurance. Yes, this is what your insurance covers, but there's out of pocket. You're still responsible for X amount, and there are things your insurance doesn't cover. So you need to be able to make sure you're covered. And that's what I do. Now, granted, if something crazy goes on, I will have to say something. I'm not going to allow bad shit to happen, but little things will work out by ourselves. So I answer the questions as you want them, and I know in my heart what I need to do to get through the shift. And part of what I do, like when I'm studying, like up at 6 a.m., studying for the test, getting home at 10:30, 11 at night after all that is said and done, you get a little loopy when you're like, have your nose in this corporate handbook for that long time, even with the food knowledge, which again I stand by. It's a lot. So I kind of I have to rehearse the answers. I have to learn the answers I know that they want for the test, and then I have to kind of like make fun of the test and make fun of the answers, because it's the only way I'm going to get by. So one of the things on the last test we had to talk about was the core principle of hospitality, which is treating people as if they were guests in your own home, which is industry standard. And it's what I naturally lead with. It's what I said earlier, I naturally do. But I had like a little fun with myself answering this question at home, because it's like, oh, you want me to treat you like a guest at my house, like you're a guest in my home. And if you've ever been a guest in my home, if you've been to any one of my Game of Thrones parties and had a signature cocktail that I've made, the the menu for that night, which was inspired by the previous episode or the upcoming episode or something Game of Thrones related. If you've been to my bitty bitty brunch, that magical year when Easter fell on Selena's birthday, if you've been to any of my viewing parties for the Super Bowl, for the Tonys, for the Oscars, you know how I throw down. You know, I really don't ask people for anything. Come with an empty stomach. Come hungry, come thirsty. I got you covered. If you are a guest in my home, you are loved and you will be taken care of. But that's a curated list. Being a guest in my home, that's curated. I get to see that, and it's a living list. It is living and changing. It is like a Google Doc. We can change it anytime, and I can add people. You're calling me on your way, like, my friend wanted to meet up, and we're having a really good time. Is it okay if they come along? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Your friend is always welcome. The list is always growing, but it can also be edited. So if I'm treating guests like they're in my own home and they have bad behavior, you don't really want me to treat guests like they're in my home. You want me to treat them in a way that, like, what I call extreme hospitality, to where they're always right and this and that. Like, so obviously they don't want me to reprimand the guests or kick them out or take them off the list, like the do not serve list. But I just had like fun scenarios in my head thinking of how I could kick guests out for bad behavior and all that, which surprisingly, I last night, these two dumb jamokes came and sat down at my bar and got them beer, got them a cocktail, blah, blah, blah. And they were like they were just interesting. They were just like, straight men in their 50s. Um, and all of a sudden their check disappeared. I'm like, what happened to their check? I didn't drop it. I rang it in. I rang it in. And the general manager's like, I got their check. Don't worry about it. And so I was like, okay. And then they're left and like, there's no cash on the bar. And I'm like, well, that's kind of shitty. Like, they're getting a comp, like they're getting a full comp and they didn't even tip us. Turns out these guys sexually harassed a worker at another restaurant. They were not maybe some sort of harassment. I think it was in the sexual vein, but they harassed and they got 86th from the group, and didn't realize that our restaurant is in that group. So in that, I will say, they got your back. They took care of that and they kicked them out. And after realizing this extreme hospitality and all these scenarios where like the guest is always right, it was kind of nice to see. I love delivering no's. I love guests being put in check. And so that these guys got kicked out, that actually made me love this new job a little more. But also it's kind of getting me thinking like this might be my last restaurant job. It might be it. That's not like it's not ending anytime soon. Unless someone drops out of Tuacon and I get that contract I thought I was going to have, that would have would have had me out for the entire summer and early fall. But I really think I don't think I could do another one of these training processes to this level. And I don't think I could work at a place that doesn't have these training processes. Um, I don't think I can do it either way, because without these guardrails, it's always a dumpster fire. With these guardrails, it's always overwhelming and anxiety spiking. And it just made me think like, is this really supporting the dream in the same way it did almost 20 years ago when I started in this industry? Um, was it ever supporting the dream? Has it been hindering it? Have I missed out on opportunities because I was afraid of what was going to happen at a restaurant? Have I missed out opportunities because I was just so burned out by a restaurant? I don't know. I don't know what it looks like, but I know I'm winding down my time in this industry because I'm not looking to be in a leadership role. I'm not looking to fully sign my soul over to management. Um, but yeah, those are just things to ponder. We don't have to have the answer today. And don't worry, this podcast is not going anywhere. Like I said at the top of the show, I am a tenor, and you will have to pry this microphone from my cold, dead hands. Anyways, enough about me. I have a phenomenal guest, and I said I was going to keep these pre-shifts short, but it's better than the last 2 weeks. But today's guest is someone that I absolutely love, adore, and respect. He is actually one of the most loved and adored actors in New York City, in the New York City theater community, because he is a community builder. He is hilarious. He wears his heart on his sleeve. He is so sincere, and I've witnessed him as an audience member. I've witnessed him as a castmate, and I have witnessed him on the front lines of Ripley Greer, Pearl Studios, NOLA, again, RIP NOLA, all the auditions, all the summer stock auditions. Summer stock, what is this, Mickey and Judy? The height of audition season. I've seen him at 5 a.m., all of that, and even recorded a demo for a musical we worked on together with him. Truly, truly an incredible caliber of talent in this one human being. He is an award-winning actor, director, comedian. Did I say that? Writer. He does it, and MC. And he also, I know he sings and I know he dances. He didn't put that in his little bio. He's more talented than he's telling you. Um, he has sold out venues all over New York with his cabaret shows, 5 of them, and they are just, I mean, what cabaret should be. From start to finish, it is high octane, and he earns every standing ovation he gets, and he earns all those covers that venue charges because he packs the place, because that speaks to how loved he is. He made his New York City debut while making his off-Broadway debut in a one-man show. Go big or go home, right? He went straight to headlining, which is something we're going to unpack because I remember that journey for him and seeing it via social media and the process he was getting into to make that show happen. He has performed in regional theaters. He has performed in other off-Broadway shows. He travels the country as an MC for a dance competition, which I'm sure he has those dance moms in stitches. He is one of the most talented people I have ever met in my life. And whew, he has stories. Oh, does he have stories? Actually, before we were recording, I looked at him and was like, "Oh, good to see you, good to see you." Da da da. And I just was like, I can't believe we're still in this because he's in it as much as I am. Surviving the job to live the dream. Don't let me speak anymore. Welcome to the show, my dear friend, Josh Bardier.
I love you. That's the sweetest intro. Can you say that at my funeral? Just use past tense.
Just give me a 2 week notice so I can put in for work to get the time
I
off.
I got you. I got you. Thank you.
This is becoming one of my favorite parts of this show is singing my friends' praises because especially in this industry, we don't get it enough. We're told no, we're spoken to in certain ways, and we're humbled in a lot of different ways. So it is my joy and pleasure to tell you just how fucking great you are.
Well,
So
thank you.
welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Of course, of course. I want to rip the band-aid off. Let's get started.
Let's go.
I need to know what
Hmm.
your gateway job was into becoming this walking, talking, singing stereotype of an actor in New York City.
Mm. I was 14 years old and I knew very, very early on that I wanted to be an actor. I saw a summer theater production of the not Andrew Lloyd Webber production of Phantom of the Opera. I saw Phantom, and
Laura Yeston.
and that was my gateway into wanting to see the other Phantom. I saw that. I knew that I wanted to be an actor. I wanted to be in that world. And by the time I was 14, I was adamant on it. I just knew.
Hmm.
And my mom basically said, like, the smartest thing anyone has ever said, which is, well, honey, if you want to be an actor, you're going to have to learn how to bus a table. So let's talk to your uncle. And at 14, I started working as a dishwasher at an Italian coffee dessert bar because only in Worcester, Massachusetts would you go from your restaurant where you could get dessert and you had your dinner. No, 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 no. You'll go to the coffee dessert bar to keep the date going. And I started. It was called Cafe Dolce. It's no longer there, and I was a dishwasher, and it was the best job I've ever had in my life.
That's amazing because that's I always tell people like that's probably the hardest job in the restaurant because like it is hot and steamy back there. It is
Yeah.
never ending. It's just like it's like the Sorcerer's Apprentice, like Mickey Mouse. It's just like it's not. It keeps coming. How do I
It
make this
just keeps.
stop?
I.
Straight
It was
Nana on crack.
It was the best. It
Yeah.
was, I mean, picture a 14-year-old hanging out with like what seem like adults, but are like 21-year-olds. And I got to be back by myself, listen, wear whatever I wanted to wear, listen to my music. And the only job I had was to just clean everything. I have never felt so content with washing dishes. And it was amazing. It really was. It was amazing. I felt like wow, this is something special. My sister also worked there, and I throw her under the bus because she got fired for having an attitude, and then my mom said I had to quit. out of being out of solidarity with my sister, and I was so mad. I was so mad.
That is absolutely so many. I have so many friends that have had to either quit language schools or piano lessons because one sibling couldn't get it.
Yep.
So that's hilarious. But it also speaks to like an experience that I feel like a lot of my friends have had, and I know I had coming up in community theater, where you're 14, you're surrounded by these adults, you get a little bit of freedom, and you get to kind of like exercise and practice being an adult, practice adult humor, and get a head start on life wisdoms. Because like when you're 14, you think you are so cool, you think you know what's what in the world, and you get to kind of practice that. And it's like you're away from home, and it's not where you're like you're definitely a teenager, you definitely don't know what's what, and you're surrounded by these adults, and you get to practice, you get to play, and you absorb so much information, and the freedom like that's crazy. What a place to start. And here we are, like I said, still in
Yeah.
still.
For me, it's been 22 years working in hospitality.
Ooh,
Yeah. It hasn't been full time nor every year of that. There's been many, many other jobs that have existed, both inside my career of acting and the arts, but also in the scheme of it's New York City and you got to hustle and make whatever money you can. But for me, yeah, 22 years of every job that you could possibly name, starting at dishwasher, everything from server to trainer to events coordinator, maitre d', reservationist, bartender, uh, inventory, whatever it is. Somehow I'm that person that has gotten asked to do something and I go, and then they show me the amount of money they're going to hand me. And I go, well, let's see, what's the worst that can happen?
I can figure that out. Like, fuck inventory. I hate inventory. I hate
It's,
inventory, and I hate unpacking shipments. Like that
yeah.
is just like, ah, God, can I just make drinks? Do I have to do this? Like, it's the worst. It's
I think everybody finds the things that they like to do and the things that they don't. I always go back to people hated one restaurant I worked at. We had to make like roses out of the napkins, and I specifically remember you had to make 50 roses before you went home. It was one of those type of places, and people hated doing it. I was perfectly content to sit at the bar and just make them. So I was like, throw me $20 and I'll do your roses and I'll just sit here all night. But, everybody has their things that they like and that they don't like. I think something so brilliant that you said about in the beginning was about having your coworkers' backs. If you know that no matter what day you're going in, that your fellow coworkers, whether they're friends or they're just coworkers that you see on those shifts, if you truly feel the respect and the trust that they have your back, you never have that stomach feeling of I don't want to go to work, I don't want to be doing this. You don't question your life as much. You don't question why am I doing this. You just go in, do it, and you move on.
Yeah.
which is all we're all trying to do, is just go in, be present, and then be as out of that door as quickly as possible.
100%, because like it's almost like siblings, your work bestie, your work husband, your work boyfriend, whatever. It's almost like a sibling, because you witness when mom and dad lose it. You witness when mom and dad do something that they said we should never do. And we witness our managers and the restaurant be like, okay, so we had to learn and test on the integrity and these principles, and what the fuck are you doing? But and we experience when shit goes wrong and guests are nuts, and it's just knowing somebody else has witnessed it, knowing
Yes.
somebody else sees it. It's like, okay, I'm not crazy, and as long as there's one other person, my brain can make sense of it. So it is so important to have. If you want me to say that guests are first, guests are so first
They're
in
first.
in your book.
Yep.
But for me, and
There's
we obviously we need guests. That's how we make money. Like, I get that. And again, natural hospitality, I want to provide an experience. And it's like, casting directors aren't looking to see you crack on a note, aren't looking to see you nervous. They're actually looking to see you succeed. And
yeah.
that's how, like, I want you to have a great time when you pull up to my bar, when you pull up to my table. I do want to treat you like a guest in my house, but you have a checklist of your own stuff, to not be an asshole, to have a little bit of an opinion about something. So yeah, that's where I'm just like, you're first to an extent, but really it's, I would, and I said this to the chef when I interviewed, because I had to interview with the general manager, and then I had to have a second interview with the chef, and this was before I saw any of their corporate policies. And I said, I'm number one, because I need to look out for myself in my life, and da da da. And the restaurant will benefit, because when I'm taking care of myself and I'm making sure what I need to get done gets done, I will be able to serve you. And then I look out for my coworkers. The last people, the people who fight, and I've spoken about here for last place, are the restaurant and the guest, just depending on the circumstance. Like, I will go out of my way to defend the guest if the restaurant's fucking up. I will go out of my way to defend the restaurant if the guest is being a piece of shit. But it's me, and then my coworkers, and then everything else falls into place. And that was one thing, for all the things around, Danny Meyer's extreme hospitality, which has had such a huge impact on this industry. And when they found out I worked for Union Square, they were just like, oh my God, you know all about this extreme hospitality. And it's like, I do. But the one thing where Danny Myers got it right was his first priority. And this is all on paper and it's not perfect, but his first priority is the team, is his employees, because the guest will not feel comfortable if the server's coming to the table because they just got, reamed by a chef, or they just got called out for this. Like, they take care of your employees, and the employees will take care of you. Where was I going with that? I kind of interrupted. This is a show about you. But
No,
yes,
I love it. I
all to
love it.
say that extreme hospitality is not the same as just grabbing your ankles, right? They are two separate things,
Yeah.
and we don't need you. You can grab your ankles all you want, but it's not an invitation to do so for entry. Anyways, back to you. I don't know. I'm so loopy. I'm so tired from this training, so I
It
apologize.
sounds wild. We have very different, and this is how interesting the hospitality world can be, is that my entire decades of existing in it, I've never worked corporate. I've only ever worked small private, either family owned. And so it's like it is a completely different beast in and of
Yeah.
itself in that respect, because there is no handbook, there are no tests, there's you're lucky if there's a sober manager. And so you learn this it's like, I never did the Boy Scouts, but I imagine this is what Boy Scouts do. It's like going out into the woods and having to every single shift figure out how to make it work with your fellow coworkers just to get through.
Yeah.
And that does create a very, very, I would say, stronger than other places sense of family. But with that comes blurred lines of how do you talk about things when systems aren't working, when things that are put in place are not effective. How do you talk to somebody that feels like family in a way that you need to talk to them like, hey, you're also an employee and I need you stepping up at the same level that we are. And when there's no manager around and you feel like, well, this isn't my responsibility, but at the same time, I guess I have to do it because no one else will. It's very interesting. The systems of communication tend to break a lot faster in non-corporate restaurants.
Exactly. And people can, it's very much not my job. So which in corporate restaurants, you can never say it's not your job. Anything a manager asks you is now your job. It's like, well, hold on, guys. Slow down. I will pick up for whatever. I will pick up the, not the pace, pick up the slack, but it cannot be consistently now. That's my new responsibility because I helped you. Like there is a reason why we have job titles and job responsibilities. So that way I can help pick up the slack, but we need to know where that ball was dropped, who dropped it, not for blame, but to give them what they need or to just address, swapping out responsibilities because it will always fall in a no structure place. It'll always, your list of responsibilities will grow because it's like, yeah, that's Joe's job, but Joe is checking grinder all the time and like nobody's cutting lemons. How do we not have lemon slices to start the service?
There is always a lack of lemons everywhere, and I'm at a wine bar, and we still lack our lemons at the start of shift.
The
Why?
the not being prepared is like my biggest, the place that I just left, which I went there because the place before that paychecks were bouncing, and so I went here to like, I was like, fuck, they only have a waiter job available, so I'll do that and then I'll work my way up behind the bar. Hey there, just checking in. I hope you're enjoying this episode so far, and if you are, why not leave us a 5-star review and a comment or two wherever you're listening to this from. And don't forget to follow us on social media at TUFF SHIFT Podcast. That's TUFF Shift Podcast. Everywhere. Literally everywhere. And just a reminder, gratuity's not included, but tips are always welcome. And you can find our virtual tip jar at tuffshiftpodcast.com. That's TUFF Shift podcast.com. All right, back to the show. Which 9 months later, I just because the bar was such a shit show, I was like, you know what, I'm not gonna. But there's one bartender who doesn't work there anymore who was just never prepared anywhere because it was there's this thing that happens with bartenders. So God forbid another bartender benefit from your work. God forbid another bartender get to use the excessive amount of lime juice that you like. We all, that's the thing, is you do a little work, I do a little work, and we all benefit. But it was like cutting lemons on the fly, cutting garnish on the fly. And it's like, this is the home of the 20-minute vodka soda. Like, what is going on? This is absolutely fucking nuts. I don't want to get away from this. I knew this would happen, and I fucking love it. We haven't actually answered the second question, which because
I already forgot the second question.
The second question, I haven't asked it yet. I should say.
Oh, okay, good.
Is there a tough? This happens every now and then where it just becomes, because this is a conversation. I have my interview questions, and maybe we'll get to 3 of them. But like the 2, I always wanted to touch on. What is a tough shift that stays with you today?
Oof. I'm very lucky. I feel like I don't have as many, or therapy has helped me just finally block them completely out. I think what I struggle with sometimes too is I always call it this. My level of stress is normal stress of just a very busy shift. It can get chaotic on certain days wherever I am. And then there's the, once I start saying this is my last shift to people out loud, even though they know it's not, but once I get to that point of being like, this is it, I'm not coming back tomorrow, I'm done, You're all disrespectful. You have nothing in your hearts, nothing in your hearts. They're like, oh, okay, okay, we gotta let Josh be. Um, I worked at the long story short is my first restaurant job in the city was at an Irish pub. That Irish pub closed, and then I went with the manager to a new Irish pub. Um, and it was definitely a shit show. There's nothing better than when a restaurant opens and it's not even fully built. But we did that. And I remember the toughest shift for me that just lingers is there. It was a summer day. I want to say it was June because it was still intern season. And this new bar was surrounded by like Price Waterhouse and all of those places. So that's the type of crowd we would get after work was the let's go drink and then go home or go someplace else for dinner. We had an outside beer garden attached. It was a 2-floor bar. It was really lovely for what it was. Except for all the problems that it had. And this particular day was just insanity. The managers were always on drugs or
Mm.
drunk. I've never really had a manager. Like anywhere I've ever worked, I've always turned into the manager, at least for when I'm on the shift. It's always come, even if I'm the new person, 2 weeks later, I'm the new person training the new person.
Yes.
Um,
It's
that
Jefferson May's new show, I Am My Own Manager.
literally, and that's, I mean, to some degree, I enjoy that. I really do. I'm very much I like to, if there's problems, I like to solve them. I like doing hospitality my way, which, like you said, it's like if you're coming to my home. I love that. I love having that control. I also love that if I'm in the position where I am aware of everything, I'm able to also anticipate people's needs. And I
Yes.
love being able to do that. And unfortunately, when you get more people in the mix of it, the communication starts to get cloudy. Um, the managers were both absent at this point in time. It was really, really busy. It was simple. Our poor runner and busser that day for the afternoon, he fell downstairs because the kitchens were downstairs, so he was just out of commission. He had to go to the hospital. It was horrible. Like, I felt so badly for him. His name was Sergio. I still think about him because he was like, I'll just keep working, it's okay, I know how busy we are, because we were packed in a way that we should have never been packed. The hostess was just MIA at the booth. People were just walking in and grabbing places. Tabs weren't being closed. And at that point, so the busser fell and was out. The managers were gone. The hostess was MIA. And we were down 2 servers who were late. And so I just said to the other server, I was like, you keep serving, do the best you can. I'm going to go grab buckets and I'm going to start clearing away as much as I can and bussing and at least bringing it down to the dishwashers. I remember going up to these 3 girls who were in a group and I asked them if they were done with their drinks and they said yes. So I grabbed them. I probably came back like 5 minutes later and this girl is just screaming. She's like screaming at the other server about how her drink was taken and she did not finish it. And it was like not that deep. It really wasn't.
We'll make you a new one.
That was it. And I just went over and I was like, hey, what's up? Like, what's going on? And I explained, I took the glasses. She did not take the glasses. Like, that is on me. I can get you another drink. And I turned around to go and get it. I said, what are you having? And she said, Blue Moon. And I turned around to go and get it. And she just took the water that she had and she just threw it at my back. And I turned around and I just looked at her and I just went, no, you're just not getting anything. You're not getting anything. And I went to go get their check. I brought the check over and I couldn't believe it. She's just still screaming at me. She's like, I want my drink. You stole my drink. I'm not paying for that drink that's on this. And finally, I just go, you're not getting anything else here. Go be drunk someplace else. That's all I said. And then it was like World War III happened. All of a sudden she got on the phone and she's like talking to Tyrone and telling Tyrone to come in and come and get this guy. He's being awful. He's abusing me. And no joke, I just start walking away. And these guys come in from the front entrance and they're tall and everything, and they come and they just stop me and they're like, you the guy who's giving our girl problems? And I was like, I'm not dealing with this. I kid you not, another guy who is in this group comes from the upstairs and walks down the stairs to come behind me. So now I've got 3 guys just trying to like beat me up. I don't know.
This is not how I fantasize this would happen.
This is not it, guys. So this is not it. So one of them finally tries to take a swing. And being me, I just decide to go under his legs and run away. So I run upstairs and I go and I hide. And the bartender upstairs is like, what are you doing? And I'm just under the bar, just being like, you got to find the manager. You got to get the manager. The manager tells me after they're still screaming, like the place is silent now. There's no music on. These guys and this girl are just screaming everywhere, like trying to find me. Just like swearing at the top of their lungs, we're going to get you. The manager comes up. And this is my friend. This is my friend who took me from this other bar to this bar. And he's like, I need you to come down and apologize. And I just said, over my dead body. I'm not doing it. And he's like, I need you to do this for me. Like, I just need you to do this one for me. Just do it. And I don't know why, but I fell for it and I went down and I went and they're still just going and going. One of them has their iPhone and it's just like, say you're sorry. And I just said, I apologize. And the girl went, for what? And I just went, I apologize for I just looked at my manager. I just went, I can't do this. I was like, I'm not sorry. I'm sorry that I'm not sorry. Like, I don't have anything to be sorry for. Just get out. And the guy tried to come for me and I grabbed a pint glass right next to the thing. I just threw it on the ground. And I was like, do we want to really go there? Do we want to? Because I'm ready. Let's go. You want to punch me again? Let's go. Let's do this. Like, I'm from Worcester, Massachusetts. Let's go outside right now. I'm ready. And then finally my manager just pulls me upstairs again and says, just stay up here until I fix it. But it was hilarious because you would think 2 things. You would think, one, that the manager would have had my back.
Yeah.
And you also would have thought after that happened that he would have been like, why don't you just go home? It's been a long shift. No, he came up and was like, all right, they're gone. Come back down when you're ready. We just sat 2 new 8 tops.
I just want to acknowledge that at the beginning of this question, you said you've been very lucky and you don't really have any questions. And then you just pulled out the most twisted, ridiculous, intense story I've heard. That's like, that might be the toughest shift I've heard.
And it's funny to me because I don't, when I think about tough, I think what I'm so grateful for, maybe why I always see is like, I don't think it's that bad for me or it's never been, I've been very lucky, is because I have always had somebody on staff who deeply cared about my well-being or understood what I was bringing to the table every day that I walked into that place, into any place I've been, and always made sure to really just, even if they had to throw me into the walk-in and just be like, sit here, cool down, Like, you're too good to let their energy, to let what they are doing affect you.
Yeah.
So take the break, take the moment. And I've been very lucky. I've been very lucky in that sense. But yes, crazy stories. Crazy, tough, debatable. Crazy, I have seen everything under the sun.
Oh, and I'm sure you have. I wanna to ask you something that you brought up. I want to talk about espresso martinis. Just get your thoughts on that. Speaking of things that may be crazy, but not necessarily tough, what do you have any opinions on espresso martinis that you'd like to share today?
I just think that America is declining in literacy. We always have been. And I think one of the first things, the simplest thing that one can do when you enter any restaurant or bar is when you are handed a menu, you can possibly peruse the menu instead of waiting for me to have to tell you that this is a wine bar and that we don't have liquor to make espresso martinis. It is just the worst. I think my feelings on espresso martinis is the way that I felt 2 years ago about people asking me how dry is the rosé. It doesn't matter. You're still going to get it, and you're still going to drink it, and you're still going to complain about the price. So cool. For me, the espresso martini has turned into the. Am I allowed to swear on this?
You can say whatever the fuck you want.
Oh my God. It has become the basic bitch drink of the season. And the only reason I feel badly for bartenders is because if it's a good espresso martini, it takes time. If you're doing what everyone frankly is doing in New York, which is now they're either using instant coffee or they made the espresso 2 days ago, like fine, go off. It's not a difficult cocktail to make. But if you're paying for a true good espresso martini, it's going to take time. So stop rushing your bartenders. I don't know where y'all come from with your instant gratification of your TikToks, your Instagrams, your whatevers, but like you want everything, you want it now. You will get it when we have it ready for you.
When it's ready. It's like when people who complain about well done steaks be like, well, it's gonna take time. And with the espresso martini, with a whiskey sour, like anything with like egg white, anything with foam, it has to settle because you want those three fucking beans on top. What's gonna hold it? The foam. And it does, it's like a Guinness. You gotta sit and be patient. And it is also, I mean, trust me, some of them are delicious. But it is one of those things where like I judge people based on their orders. And and if you order an espresso martini, and like straight bros have like jumped on this too, where it's just
Oh,
like
yes.
I'm like, that's gayer than me, and I'm gay with a capital F. Like that is just like that is just what? Like you these bros like, yeah, I really like espresso martinis. Like, okay, other things I hate about straight men. There's a drink called The Last Word, which is a delicious drink. It's a gin drink. It has green chartreuse. It has maraschino cherry liqueur, and liqueur, liqueur, and it has lime juice. It's absolutely beautiful. It's a drink that when I go to interviews and they're like, "Oh, so what's your favorite drink?" And I always say, like, I'll say The Last Word because it used to be impressive because not a lot of people knew about it. But it's in LA and
Mm.
in New York, it's kind of having like a renaissance. And what they're doing here is it's like people are like, "You got any mezcal?" And it's like, "Yeah, fucking like, yes, I have mezcal." I'm like, "Have you ever heard of a last word?" And it's like, order your goddamn drink and like don't call out the recipe to me. Don't just order what you want and I'll make it. If I don't know how to make it, I have Google. But like these finance bros, they descend and they've taken the joy out of that drink for me.
Yes.
Basic bitches and finance bros have taken the joy out an espresso martini for me. The other thing I hate about espresso martini is that it's one of those things like Irish coffee where everyone has their variation of it. And it's like, no, it's a very specific recipe. There's no Baileys.
There's
There's
no Baileys.
no Baileys in an Irish coffee. There's no Baileys in an espresso martini. And people just it is bonkers what people do when ordering drinks, ordering things off the menu. I had someone order, can you do an almond joy martini? I was like, what the fuck?
It's just like,
What is
this
an almond
isn't
joy martini? Like, you had that at the
Starbucks.
Cheesecake Factory. That's where you go and get it. Don't come
Eh,
to my bar. We don't
Go
do mudslides.
off.
We don't do
Go
mudslides.
off.
And you know, mezcal, I don't mess with mezcal. I do not like, unless it's Paul mezcal, I don't want it anywhere near me. Oh, I wrote that joke yesterday. I was waiting.
I love that. I love that. And
Unless it's
yes, all the Paul Mescal.
all the Paul mezcal. Yes, last word, first word, all the
It,
words.
it's so interesting. So what I ended up doing is I left the industry, especially during the pandemic time.
You
I
missed a fun
just,
time.
yeah, I decided to come back. I had said, and what you said in the beginning really touched me, because I understand what it's like when you start to feel the, I think this is it. I think this is the last place. That's where I am currently. I'm at a little Italian bar in the West Village, and it is the perfect combination of things for me. I'm not doing liquor. There's no liquor, so that's fantastic. I'm not, there isn't a full kitchen. It's small size tapa Italian style, so it's shareable plates. Um, it's very much the type of place where you are your own boss, because on any given day, you're both the bartender, the host, the server, and the plater of the food. You're the chef.
Yeah.
And at maximum, there's two people working. That's the most. There's
Oh,
no
wow.
bussers or runners or anything. And so it has become my last place and my favorite place to work, because of the simplicity and nature of our menu. Is we have a good selection of wines, but it's still smaller compared to larger restaurants or places that are doing pastas, etc. But one of the things that I realize is when the finance bros and the West Village biddies ruin my night by taking away my joy. I take joy.
Mhm.
I'm not a sommelier. I'm not even that big of a wine drinker, but I know every single wine that's on that menu. I may not be able to tell you the process by which it was made, but if you say, I want this type of wine and I like this in my wines, I know exactly which one you want. I'm basically a used car salesman at a glorified lemonade stand. Like, that's what I am. And I'm okay with that, because I know at the bottom line is people just want you to care. They
Yeah.
just want you to put a little intention and effort into the night. That, and the number of times people say, "Oh, this is the perfect wine. This is it." That makes me feel so
Yeah.
good inside. That makes a 12-hour shift for us. A normal shift is 12 hours, no breaks. Illegal, maybe. And we
I fucking hate breaks, by the way.
there's
I
no such, in the restaurant industry, there is no such thing of a
totally.
break. There's no
No,
such thing of a
a
break.
lot of places in New York and in California, like, you have to clock out and you have to take a break. And like the place I just left, it was wild. Like, they would have to break the bartenders, and it was always like, why are you breaking them at the beginning of the rush?
No one
Like,
wants that.
I'm old school. Let me my I'll put my ankles up later. Like, just don't, like, I'll be fine. I'll be on my feet all day. I'll get the blood flowing. I'll relax. I'll unwind on my own. But like, it breaks the momentum for me to
Yes.
have to take a break.
People need to remember that the reason why people exist for a long time in hospitality is not only because of the occasional flexibility of the schedule, the type of money that can be made in it, etc. It's because we all, to some degree, are chasing for that dopamine fix.
Yeah.
We like the adrenaline. We like the adrenaline of being busy. If you stay in this business, it's just like people who are nurses, for people who work in emergency situations. You need to actually, to some degree, enjoy being in that type of intensity to come back every day okay. And yeah, stopping it to go on a break, unless you truly just need to go walk around for a minute. No, most people just want to keep working and get out sooner.
Because that's how the time passes.
Yes.
So much faster.
And you're in the zone. Once you get a bartender in the zone doing things, they don't want to go out of the zone. They just want to keep going. The
Because then
work.
you have to start back up again, and it's like, oh, okay, I gotta, it's like a treadmill. Like it won't just go to 6 every time you stop it. Yet it has to work its way up. And like, what mess did my other bartender leave for me to clean up before I could get back to my zone,
Yes.
my flow? Like it's just you gotta keep it moving. And there are certain things where I understand and I appreciate the labor laws, but like it's like, can we can we not do this now?
Can we not do this now? And also, if anything, can somebody please just come talk to these people for me instead? That's what I need a break from. I don't need a break from
Yeah.
work. Just somebody come and start talking to the people that I've been having to talk to for the past 45 minutes.
Hmm.
We're very lucky at our restaurant because we have to cook and because we're so busy having to go so many places. We kind of are very capable of just walking out of conversations and it never appearing to be rude because they understand that we're doing a lot. So that's the one nice thing. And when I cook too, it's so beautiful when you get to turn your back to everyone and just focus on the cooking. But yes, I remember every place else I worked, I had my little hiding spots for when I just needed to stop having to talk to people and laugh at people's awful jokes.
Which, behind the bar, you're stuck.
Oh,
You
you're
are
just
you
stuck.
you there's nowhere. That's why I like working in service bar, because it's like I'm just cranking out the drinks for the floor, and
Yep.
like I can ignore, like I had my first job here in LA, this one customer who would come in every day, and it just, you never knew what type of a mood he was going to be, but you knew he was going to talk at you the entire shift. And when you're with other people, he'd interject himself and it's like, dude, dude, I need you to we can have our but like they're here to be with themselves. They're here to sit at the
Yeah.
bar, and that they don't need. It's like, why straight men see a woman sitting at a bar with a book and thinking like she's just waiting for me to come along and interrupt her. Like, just leave people alone and like
Just
don't talk at people.
no.
Don't.
And also just acknowledge this is the thing. Like talking and tipping are always like the thing that go hand in hand. And for me, is
Mhm.
the number of people who will sit at a bar and talk forever and then will tip under 20%, under 18% sometimes. I'm like, you're that person that thinks, oh, well, how much do you think I should tip you for a glass of wine? Like, wow, you just had to pour the wine. No, sir, you took up real estate and I also had to listen to you for that long. Have you ever gone to talk therapy? Because I'm pretty sure that's going to be $350 if you don't have insurance.
Uh, to start,
You,
have you,
you want to leave the $350
it's
for
so
me?
it's so outdated because it does happen at the bar too sometimes where it's like it people think it's like, oh, a dollar per drink. Like, yeah, no, that's not how it works. It's a similar thing with like when people can't wrap their heads around like, how much an artist charges for like their performance fee for their this and that. It's like, you're not just paying for the glass of wine. You're paying for all the setup that I did to make this for you, to make this space enjoyable for you. All the knowledge I had to cram in my brain to be able to talk to you about this wine, polishing the glass. We're not at a dollar per drink anymore. It's
No.
20% no matter where your ass is sitting. And I don't understand. The thing that really gets me is when it's consistently like, it's always like $2 under 20%.
Yep.
Like when people leave you tip, it's like, it's $2 under 20%. What is your who hurt you? I want to check. I want to check in. I should have probably done this before we started recording. What do you have a time limit?
I just gotta be out by like 4. I just gotta head to work at 4.
Perfect, because
Yeah,
I just we have, there's so much I want to touch on. I want to make sure that we get to you as a performer because the show is about talking shop and also talking about the
you're
person
very
behind
kind.
the apron, to be of all the things, because it's always like you have no idea how talented the person bringing you water is. You have no
Woo!
idea. Like, I just got off of a national tour and now I got to work. Famously, Coleman Domingo was a Tony nominee. and then back to bartending in Broadway houses, like because we got to make the dream happen. Anyway, so I want to talk about that. But before we move off the restaurant, recently you had an issue which
Mm.
I felt it. I felt it through Instagram. I felt your pain. I felt your coworkers' pain. And it's not okay to treat people this way. It's not okay to be this way. Can you share this story that you shared with the world on social media? Uh,
Yeah, of course. It was a sad day because I do want to, and I don't try to make excuses, but I would say 98% of the people that come to the bar that I work at now are wonderful people,
mhm,
or at least respectful people,
mhm,
at least bare minimum. It is very rare for us to have anything happen. Like I can actually, I've been there now for a little over 2 years. I can count on one hand the number of incidents, and they're not even that big of a deal. But this one was just so, ugh. We have an outside garden, which I was taking care of the tables out there, and there were two of us working. My coworker, who is like a brother to me, and we tag team. You know, if it gets busy, we tag team. And this guy came to sit with his group, and they all got wine and they were having a perfectly great time. I had seen them, I served them, there were no problems. I was just busy taking care of an older gentleman who needed help picking a wine. And so Mauricio went to go do a sweep of the garden and saw that that table specifically had their check and left the credit cards. He went to go run them. One of the credit cards didn't run. It was the guy who had joined the two women, and he that's all I knew. And then before I knew it, Mauricio was coming in, my coworker, and he was walking, and he just had this look, like this look of something's not right. I try to live in the world, especially where I am at this point. I kind of take on the managerial role when needed because we don't have a manager. So I'll do that because we all have collectively decided that that helps for when we have to deal with instances like this. But my rule of thumb is always let the person who is dealing with it deal with it, and
mhm,
don't get involved unless absolutely necessary, because then they get even more defensive if there's two people. So I'm just listening, and what ended up happening was the guy's card declined. Just declined. It's not that deep. Like cards decline all the time. It's not like 1995 and we're walking up like and it's your only credit card. I have no clue what happened in this guy's mind, but he said, Mauricio said, I can use your phone if you just get it. He used the phone. The phone didn't work.
mhm, mhm,
And then
mhm.
he looks at me and he just says the nastiest thing I've heard in a long time, where he looks at me and he goes, Can you come over? Can you come over here and help him deal with that? Because he can't even understand a word of English that I'm saying. And I was just like, first of all, this man is the institution. He has been working here as a bartender for almost 14 years. The place runs because of him. Like, so I just looked at this guy and I was
Oh.
like, no, man, that's not how we talk to people here. Like, no, I'm not getting involved. So I just stood there. Everybody's now watching. And he tries his phone again, gets a different credit card, and it works and everything. And Mauricio hands him the pieces of paper because we're still old school and give people paper. And you know, I expected after this altercation that, you know, we were going to be left with no tip. That's fine. Life happens. Still to this day, even though I have my beliefs on tipping and understanding like what I get paid and what I don't get paid, like at the end of the day, when it comes to that line that says tip, that is your right. That's your right as an American. I understand. And he wrote in the signature line, "Go fuck yourself." And I saw Mauricio grab the paper, and I saw him kind of take it and do a little like, so I went and grabbed it to see how little of a tip he left, and I saw it for the first time. And I was behind the bar going to this guy as faster than you would have ever seen me run. And he was with the girl who he was on a date with. And I
Oh,
just,
call him out. Ooh, ooh, ooh.
and I just, I followed them. I followed them out. Never touched him. Let me preface. I never touched him. I never physically was near him, but I certainly was at least invading his personal space to make sure that as he was walking, trying to walk past me, I was in front of him. And all I kept saying to him was, "Do you see this? Like, this isn't what you do to human beings. Like, what did I do to you? I was your server. What did I do to you for
Mhm.
this to be written? What possessed you?" And he's like, "Just leave me alone. Just leave me alone." And the girl is, I'm like, "Why are you dating this person? Like, what is going on, girl? Like, this is
That's
just,
gonna come back to you one day.
this
He's
is,"
gonna start treating you that way.
and he's like grabbing her and they're just trying to walk. And I'm just going, what this guy doesn't realize is that where I work in the village, we are all the bars. We are all family and know each other. So everyone from the Irish pub hears me screaming at somebody on the streets. They come out and there's like, "What's wrong?" I'm like, "Look at what he wrote." So now you have 5 bartenders and 2 bouncers just circling this guy, being like, "This is not what you do in the world. You don't want to leave a tip? Don't leave a tip. You write something like that, you've got a problem with
Mm.
all of us."
And you're the one with the declining cards. Your broke ass can go fuck yourself. And on that note, let's take a break. Clearly, we are having too much fun and we have so much more to unpack. So let's just put a bookmark in that and we'll pick up next week. Thank you so much for listening. Tough Shift was created and hosted by Sean Patrick Murtagh. It was recorded on Riverside and distributed with Buzzsprout. Don't forget to leave us a 5-star review and maybe a comment or two. And remember, tough shifts build character, and character is what brings your story to life.